Hi, everybody, and welcome to PhD, the podcast for damned PhD students, those who wish to become damned PhD students, and those of us working through Christmas. Are we working? I'm not working through Christmas.
I'm trying.
Why?
I don't know what to do. I just have things to do. But I'm failing at it because yesterday I went to the department and I tried pretending to work. Just didn't work. I couldn't even pretend to work.
I'm working until Sunday, and then Sunday's my cut-off. You're not going to hear from me until 2025.
Okay, that's good.
I am your co-host, Marissa. Right.
What was that?
I'm winking.
Having a stroke.
There was a noise.
Oh, the noise. Okay, let's do it again. I am your co-host, Marissa. Can you name yourself?
I'm Lara and
I'm Praga.
nice.
And today we have a special guest who is... Name yourself.
Charlotte. Okay, this is weird. I don't know what is happening today.
I know, I don't know.
It's
I'm
too
not
early.
feeling the...
We should
That's
be
what it
doing this in
is.
the afternoon, not in the morning.
Surprised.
Have you guys had your breakfast?
No.
There you go.
Yeah, kind of.
Same.
I did bring mince pies for everyone, but I've been told we can't eat them.
No.
So sorry about that.
I have eaten in here and been like... Not in
Yeah.
here, but in one of these rooms and been like...
I mean, you have to
chastised.
cut this off because if
Yeah.
they watch this.
Oh no, the person came and was like, don't do that or
Yeah.
we'll kick you out next time. And I was like, okay.
And to be
Ooh,
fair,
okay.
the powdered
Threats.
sugar did come out a little bit when I took them out of the bag, so maybe it's for the best.
But Charlotte, tell us a little bit about yourself. Not to put you on a pedestal. Pedestal?
I will claim
Spotlight.
the pedestal.
Spotlight.
Just let her be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
I'll
No, but
have my
some
day in the
people
sun,
feel a bit
Marissa.
like, you know, some people are like, you know. But tell us a bit about yourself. How do we know you?
So I was thinking about this. I actually sat next to Lara on the induction for SMI. Do you remember?
Yes,
we
I
were sat on
remember.
the same
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
So
With Nick and Isla.
Yeah, exactly. So I already knew Nick because we'd previously connected through, background. Worked for a local authority. So my PhD is a bit different in that it's a work-based one. So my sort of like fellowship and I'm salary funded, not stipend funded. So it's pretty much a very different situation. And so I'd connected with Nick before. But yeah, I remember Praga coming. Were you a bit late or something? Because,
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. I'm not going to lie, Marissa. I do not remember seeing you in seminars. And I was like...
Thank you.
And then
Thank you.
popped up, and I was like,
Vindication.
No.
Marissa's been here all the time.
This is what I'm saying.
No. Listen. I don't remember you at all. We even went to the pub and spoke, and I didn't even know I'd
Yeah.
spoken to you. So
Do you
there's
really
that.
not remember her?
No.
Like,
She was there
Everyone
all
used
the
to talk about
In
Charlotte.
each class, like it was me, Charlotte, and Nick.
Yeah.
No.
Speaking.
I don't remember Charlotte. I remember Nick. I remember you. I don't remember Charlotte. And like,
Invisible.
it was when we started the PhD and everyone's talking about Charlotte. I was like, who is this bitch? Like, I'm just like, I don't know who this. And we
And
had
now
a whole
you know me,
conversation.
and you're like, who is this bitch?
Yeah, in a very different context. No, but yeah. Sorry. Continue.
But then also, like, this is, I was also doing it part-time, but then in the first semester, I had like a full-time timetable. So I was, so I did another year after you guys. So I'm 1 year like behind in PhD land.
Theoretically.
Well,
In
who
practice.
knows? Maybe there'll be a
You're
nuclear
ahead
war.
in life.
Yeah, you're ahead in life. You're salary based.
I'm also a lot older, so there's that.
Also,
Closer to death,
That's
nice.
ideal.
I mean, it's cool for people to know that there is an option that you work like for the council and then you're salary based.
Not just-
Basically,
there's many different types of practice-based PhD, and we should have more practice-based people as well. Because I think yours is like very professional in that sense, and then you've got like the arts-based ones that are
Yeah. It's very
Interesting.
applied. So like sort of like the condition of the funding. So the funder's the NIHR. So if you're a local authority practitioner, you can apply for this funding and do like a pre-doctoral fellowship or a doctoral fellowship. And it is, and the support's really good. And I've got to say, because of the way things are at the university and I mean, I forget all the different things, but is it the RSTG, whatever that is? And
the research, training.
Yeah. It's not, I don't think it's a lot of money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because mine is like different and like more money, it lets you do more things. It's very obvious, isn't it? But sometimes I'm, being in the department and looking at, is the departmental conference fund something like £300 for a conference? I'm like,
that is just
do you know how much the conference fee is? Like, I don't get it.
Is it 300 without the conference? Like with the conference fee, that doesn't even pay the conference.
So I do. If you have the opportunity to do one, in practice, definitely go for it. But I think it does kind of give you a bit of a different perspective on things and a bit of a different outlook on things as well, definitely. And I don't have the same sort of pressure with like cost of living either, because it's salary funded, so I'm no worse off than if I was working full time, which you guys all took a severe pay cut to to come and do this. So it's worth remembering, isn't it? I really do think that,
mental health wise also, you're more at ease and like don't have to think about continuously about like money.
Like your mental health is because your PhD is bad, not because you can't afford to pay the rent, or you know what I mean.
Well, it makes everything so much worse. And like and I've probably spoken to you guys about this at different points as well. Like I grew up poor, and we were on income support, my parents separated and my dad sort of disappeared. That's a whole other story that we've spoken about in the pub before. I definitely have been affected by those kind of like pressures early on in my childhood. So even though like I'm fine now, like in some ways I feel like I still think like a poor person in a lot of ways, and it stresses me.
I think all of us on this table have the same problem.
It stresses me like in ways. I get like irrationally kind of like cross at things in the department when they ask students to like front expenses and claim it back afterwards. I'm like, who has money for this? And I'm like, okay, I do, but what about everybody else?
You're getting ahead of yourself, Charlotte. That's one of the things.
I'm sorry. I can't help it, like a broken record.
Okay, mental health check.
Mental health check. Sorry, you reminded me of something, and I just want to make sure I put it on the list. Yeah, I did. Okay, mental health check. Who wants to go first?
Charlotte, do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I'm in your way.
I'm all right. Like, I'm normally all right, to be honest. Like, yeah, I feel maybe sometimes it's like mindless optimism. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that.
There's not like a rational reason for it. I just, it's quite incongruous sometimes with what's actually going on. But like, I feel like I'm, unnaturally cheerful a lot of the time.
Good.
That's good.
I think I like that about you. But you're also really you're usually cheerful and kind of like positive, but also not when you're not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, there's people that are like irrationally cheerful that you're like, you tell them something and they will like, oh, everything will be all right. And then you're don't fucking say that to me. If things are not all right, they're not all right. But I think I appreciate your...
Yeah,
I think she's cheerfully aggressive, and that's what I enjoy.
Yeah, that's true.
Say it with a smile.
Cheerfully aggressive. in the best way possible.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Okay, this is weird. I think after my symposium ended, that was like almost a month ago now, like a bit less, like 2-3 weeks. The week like following, I had like a lot of things to do in the university. And then I just realized how burned out I was. And I haven't done anything. My supervisors have not emailed me. Like, I refuse to do anything. I'm just like sitting on the sofa reading books, like, I don't know, making cookies or whatever the hell, and just trying to convince myself that I don't need to do anything until the new year, because I think it was just way too much and I was really tired. Also love Christmas but hate winter. And you can't tell that by what I'm wearing today. I feel like I'm completely out of season. Like, I'm like the representation of spring, and Charlotte is wearing a Christmas hat.
It's not very cold.
No, it's just really windy.
Yeah.
And like this stupid small rain and the wind, and I hate the combination. It's just like disgusting.
It's horrible.
And also it's like, you don't feel like you would like to go on a walk or something. Like, I don't like to walk when it's really windy. So I'm just like, I don't know, I feel like I just don't want to go out of the house. Yeah. But like, I think everything is okay. I think I just need some time to recover, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hibernating.
Pragya. Yeah, hibernating. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I am mentally okay. I have lots and lots to do. But I think I am not being able to do it because of all the festive things around me and all these lights and Christmas and like puddings. It's just
What do you mean?
like a lot of stuff is happening, and it's very difficult for me to, in a good way. It's nice, to just like not be able to force yourself to work through all of this. It's nice that it's very distracting and everything. So I think I am comparatively better because of everything that's going on. We have so many parties planned, and I'm looking forward to them. I'm not feeling as horrible as I was probably a month back, only because I'm taking some time to do other things.
Shouldn't it always be like this?
It should always be like this. I wish I could do the entire PhD like this, taking it slow and understanding things, rather than forcing myself to stick to deadlines. What is that?
Yeah, what was that?
It
like
was
a
so
ring, ring,
ominous. It's just like something bad's gonna happen. But yeah, so I'm okay.
Cool. My mental. I don't even know how to explain it. I think if we had recorded last month, it would have been very different than what it is right now. Which is, I'm actually kind of happy we didn't record last month, because it's like my mental health is a lot better in December than it was in November, and that's because Jesus Christ.
It sounds like something is rattling from the air.
This is what open ceilings does.
That's true.
Oh my God.
But no, it's because I have felt like last month was a terrible month for me, specifically PhD wise. I always felt like every time I took a step forward, or I thought I took a step forward, I'd actually taken 2, maybe 3 back. And it made me sit and think, like, will I ever finish this PhD? I'm never going to finish. So then when people are like we've had friends that have finished recently, I'm like, someone's lying. Like, because how did you get here? Because I'm never going to finish this. Like, every time I thought I'd made progress, something happened which made my project regress. And I'm still collecting data, and I'm still doing all this stuff that I thought I'd be done with. But then I had a supervision, and for the first time in a very long time, it was a good one.
Oh,
wow.
Great.
Like as in I came out of it feeling like, because I was telling them, like I never sent them the work I originally planned to send, which was like a chapter, because I was like, I can't write that chapter anymore. I have to go back into the whole analysis phase of things because things went left. And so I sent them like just another thing that wasn't like as important or as big. And I was very like, I'm going to be in this PhD forever. I haven't done anything this month. And I'm so burned out. Like you, I didn't do anything for like 2 weeks because I was like, I did so much in October and the beginning of November that I was like, I can't do anything now. But then when I was in the supervision, my supervisors were like, you have made like so much progress, you can actually maybe finish on time. And
you can actually maybe finish on time.
Like before it was like,
what is the correct phrase? The correct,
like it's
submit within the fee paying period.
Oh yeah, sorry, within the fee paying period.
Very much is the official language.
Whereas like before I had like some of my phases hadn't been done at all. Now I've got like 10 interviews deep, or like I've done so much more, but it didn't feel like I'd done anything that month. So like them telling me like you've done more than we ever thought you possibly could was like, oh okay,
kind of rude, but okay.
No, like in the sense that because so many things were against me.
Like yeah,
because so many things were like against me, and they were just thinking, right, is this PhD going to be viable? Like, are things going to happen? And then I did so much, and they were like, people don't do that much in a short space of time. Like, what happened?
Just happened, yeah.
But yeah, like, so
ADHD
it felt
meds.
right. They were like, is this like an ADHD thing that you just did like a ridiculous amount of like superhero form of work? I'm like, maybe. And I was sitting there thinking I didn't do enough, and they were like, you did too much. So I'm just kind of like, and they even told me to take a rest for Christmas, and I was very like,
oh, that's so
what are we doing?
It's mixed messages, isn't it?
It happens to me a lot too, that I think that I didn't do much, and then I go to supervision, and then I just keep like thinking things and telling them things, and they're like, yeah, cool, like you did so much, like rest. And I'm like, I think it just adds up, and then you don't realize how much it adds up actually until you have to tell to someone what you did in the past time.
Yeah, but I won't be resting at least until Monday next week.
Yeah, but you're going on holidays then.
Yeah, so I feel like I should just do as much as I physically can until I go on holiday, and then I don't have to know.
I'm going to caution against this, because I do that, and then I like overwork and burn out, and then I immediately feel sick when I step on the plane. So I would definitely not, like, you know, you want to finish on Friday. Like, not like, don't, you know.
It's more like, it's because I know I've got a thing that is due.
Yeah.
So, do you know what it is? I have this chapter that was delayed, and now I'm like, I want it done. Like, I want it out. I want it in my review.
Okay.
So I'm very like, if I can get this done, then I feel like I could relax for Christmas, because that's like one part of my results completely done. And I don't, well, not completely, but I won't have to revisit it for a very long time. So
is it a realistic target?
it's realistic.
Okay.
I like the manager here.
Yeah, you know.
So no, it's a good question.
Of going, that's not going to work.
Are you good on writing on planes? Because I know that people write really well when they are in a plane. Like
I consider it, but like sometimes I'm just like, do you know what it is? I feel like I am, and then I'm really bad for like writing and being like, I want to read about this, and then trying to find papers to read about that thing as I'm writing, and then I can't move on until I found the papers I like.
But so maybe the plane in that sense is good because it will force you to just write whatever you have down,
maybe, and
then put like a parenthesis. Maybe I need to read like more about this.
Ref,
whatever, and then just like let that for later.
That's what they do in like the boot camps, isn't it? Where you just have to write and not do the references and things.
But yeah, I just want to get this done. If I don't get it done, it's not the end of the world. I'm closer to it. But yeah, in my head, I do want to get this stuff done so I can just move on with my life and at least feel like my PhD will finish at some point in my existence. So yeah. Anyway, that was a long mental health check.
What are we talking about today?
This episode is part 2 of infantilisation because what is Christmas? But capitalist holiday. So
Christmas is for children as well. So
right, and we are children. We are infants. We are babies.
Arrested development.
Babyfication. Pragya 2024.
It was a good term.
Thank you.
Was it word of the year? What dictionary does that?
Maybe. Yeah. And it's a good one. Like it sounds very
down word of the year.
Yeah.
Babyfication.
We should do like a graphic word of the year.
You know, like the Star Wars like intro with the we should do that, but with like babyfication. But
yeah, we had way too many things to say last time, and we didn't say all of them.
So to reiterate what they were, what we spoke about last time, because I know you wanted to talk about maybe some of the things.
That's all right.
But not being able to book meeting rooms was one. Being told this place is for staff. Who are you? To justify, and be expected to justify why you're allowed to be in a space. Salaries getting lower due to the university restructure, despite skills and workload increasing. Expecting to do things with no compensation, even though you're likely replacing a staff member who was being paid to do it. Being told that when we can submit and not having any leeway to negotiate that because mein Führer. Being cramped in an office with more desks than it should have because our department thinks that health and safety doesn't apply to us, and not having enough desks for everyone to work, ratio being 12 desks to 105 PGRs. And being ignored when we complain, which I don't even know if we spoke about being ignored when we complain, but I feel like that was a given.
Yeah, that was like the overall thing, I think.
So I'll say, Charlotte, do you have anything to say on any of those things? if not the end of all.
Yeah, but I think like some of them are sort of like symptoms of the bigger sort of problem. Do you know what I mean? So I was trying to think like, how does it all tie together a little bit? Because I think there's more than one thing going on, right? So there's this whole thing around, you know, PhD student as opposed to a member of staff.
Yes.
Because when you're a member of staff, you have a job, you have a contract, you have pension contributions, you know, and I think a lot of it does relate to that kind of student status. And I know there's like ongoing campaign, isn't there, through the UCU around this as well. But I think that a lot of it comes in that it's easy to group PhD students with undergraduates. Do you know what I mean? And I think this is where it kind of like comes from. But I mean, a lot of what you're saying, yeah, it drives me up the wall. Like I'm a team manager in a social services office. I've been a children's social worker for 12 years, doing frontline child protection investigations, going to court, giving evidence, you know. To then be in a situation where I'm like, please, can you book a meeting room for me so I can do my work? You know, it's weird, you know, and
it's ridiculous.
And that's something that was kind of like quite jarring at first, to be honest. And last year, do you remember there was a couple of events? There was one at the Students' Union that PhD students got asked to attend, and it was university wide. It wasn't just our department, but people were saying quite similar things, even though there are sometimes, you know, differences in faculties and whatnot. But we'd been we were referred to as loss leaders, and they said like PhD students are loss leaders for the university in that we don't bring the university.
I remember that.
Any money?
That was the pizza night, right?
That was the pizza night at the SU.
What?
Oh, do you guys not know that?
These two weren't there. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so it was very controversial, wasn't it? Because I'm not going to lie, that triggered the hell out of me. I was like, that is rude, first of all.
We're loss leaders, but then you capitalise off the research that we do.
Yeah, and we're employed as GTAs, you know, we're employed
I can
as
think like
research
10
assistants.
different ways that people bring money. One is obviously there are PhD students who pay
Yeah, of course.
to do their
international
PhD.
fees.
And what are you
Which is wild.
talking about?
They're paying to be called that.
Also, we contribute to REF, and like we contribute to all of these things that indirectly bring other students in the university.
I'm sorry, but even if we don't contribute, that should
Like
financially, that shouldn't be shouldn't have anything to do, especially if we're considered students.
Yeah.
But like if they are considering us students, they can't just be like, you don't make any money for the university. It's a goal of students to make money to your institution or to get education.
And this is a very senior person that said this within the university, you know, management structure. And
Oh my God.
to me, that kind of, but then it was a bit of a light bulb thing, because I was like, oh, I get it now. I get why some of the things that are happening that I think are wrong are happening, because you just see us as a drain on resources. And I was like, it kind of made some of the behaviour make sense in my head. I was like, oh, in a way, I get it now. I think it's wrong, obviously, but yeah, it was, and then it got said again. I was at a wellbeing conference, ironic, and it was a really good conference actually. It was again a member of academic staff on the panel referred to PhD students as loss leaders, and
Is it a thing now?
I interrupted and
To
said
call
that
us loss leaders.
Yeah, well, I do not like it.
I mean, how even dare say that in front of us? Like, I feel like it's different if they say that in closed doors in their meetings or in their spreadsheets
Where we
or
can
wherever
speculate about it,
Yeah,
but-
we can speculate about it, but like, how dare they say that in front of people? That's so rude.
I can't lie. I'm inclined to wear it as a badge. I'm happy to be a loss leader. I hope
I was going to
this
change
thing
the
goes
sign
down.
on our office to put Lost Leaders Office on our
Loss Leaders United.
Yeah,
That
or
would
something.
be
Do you know what I
nice.
mean? I was like really tempted.
Reclaim.
Yeah.
Loss Leaders Assemble.
Reclaim the title.
Yeah, I don't mind being a loss leader.
I mean, and I will also say specifically, I am not a loss leader because my funding is external, so I don't know what they're talking
Exactly.
about.
ESRC brings money to the university too, I would imagine.
Right.
And whilst I understand,
And if we're such
What is
loss
this
leaders, then why are they so worried about gaining more funding for PhDs?
I don't even understand how we are lost leaders. Like, how do we lose them so much money?
I mean, I think maybe
Like, I'm baffled.
Or is
Like,
it
I'm like,
because we
what the
submit
heck?
later than they want us to? Is that what it is?
I think it was in the context of the resources, I think if you're looking university wide, for example, there's a big difference between like resources for a STEM PhD compared to like a humanities or sociology PhD. So I think that some of it, it might be, I mean, it might be true. Like, I don't actually know. And I understand the university has to be solvent. Like, I understand that. But is it, you know, for me, a university isn't about making money, surely. Like,
No.
I was talking to someone yesterday about this as well, that the University of Sheffield was founded by the local people, put money together to found the university. And I think we're so far away from
what it was.
From that. And I feel like the university is its own little kind of like palace in a way.
That is something that I don't expect from them at all, like especially from management, to see universities beyond finance and money.
Yeah.
But even when you use their ideas and their understandings, it still doesn't make sense. Like, even if you're thinking monetarily, it doesn't make sense.
No.
None of this, like their ideas of like us not bringing money. Oh my God, the idea that in the UK education is
So money
definitely seen as like money making is just,
Or it's only worth as in relation to how much money it brings
Right.
in, isn't it? It's about the
that's
value.
the issue, because I feel like you always have to focus on money at some point at some level. I think the issue is all we do is focus on money. Like, we don't, like, education is secondary to money as opposed to the other way round. And I don't know if we're being naive and like, so like, it was the word utopic, like, we shouldn't.
I mean, there's
But,
other
like,
countries like everywhere around the world that
everywhere.
a much lower socioeconomic status than the UK, and education is free, if not free, like almost free.
Yeah.
Like I've said this many times, in Cyprus, if you get into the public university, you pay nothing, like nothing. And there is also bursaries and scholarships from the government that are supposed to help you out, like financially, just like with your rent or stuff like that if you have low income. And there's most countries in the European Union, and I mean, Cyprus is a tiny country, maybe that's why they can't do that, right? But for example, in Spain and in Italy, the only thing that you have to pay is like around 400 euros, I think 500 per semester. That is like a sort of registration fee, so you can register to different credits and modules, and that's it.
Even Scotland has free education, don't they?
Does
Free
it?
university or something like that.
Yeah, it's complicated, isn't it? Because in this country, we've got like, it's public sort of in name only, really.
Yeah, it's only in name.
It's a sort of in name public, but they function like private institutions, I think, a lot of the time. But and this is kind of, you know, just looking back at, you know, a lot of the things that are being brought in for us around, you were talking about the submission review on the last episode, and this kind of pressure coming in now to save money and not spend money. You know, it's been created by this set of circumstances, hasn't it? Around for years and years, universities have been kept afloat on international student fees, so that a drop in international students is suddenly like precipitating like a financial crisis in the university. And, you know, it's not, I think to some extent we're just like unlucky that we happen to be here at this moment in time, you know, where this is going on. But I think it's the fault lines in the whole system are like very exposed at the minute. And I do wonder what the future is going to be, whether eventually they're going to have to lift the cap on home student fees or go to like a part public, part private system, because it's showing now that it's not a sustainable system. But I agree that I think personally higher education should be free if you're, you know, if you're good enough to get in. And
absolutely.
There's so many access and equality issues, isn't there?
Do you
as
think
well?
there is too many universities in the UK, or that university education is too like that too many people go into university education? Why they shouldn't? Because I think that's one of the main narratives that is going around right now.
I'm so conflicted on this.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's why I'm asking you.
So my sort of background on this is I was a first generation university student. So, you know, my family hadn't been to university, didn't really know what I was doing, just applied for some courses like you do, you know. And it was like the height of New Labour. It was, you know, you can go to university. And it was really seen as a bit of a like class justice thing at the time, because it was like, no longer will the workers pay for rich people's education. We will have the education as well. You know, it was that kind of thing. But the target was very controversial. So it was like, I think they wanted 50% of young people to go to university. And I think that was the kind of, I think that's where this comes from, is there's too many people going to university. Is the alternative youth unemployment is probably what I would say.
Do you know what?
Before, youth unemployment was high.
I think, so I'm in the generation not even generation after you, I'm like that in between, I guess. And for us, it was you're going to university and there's like nothing else that you can do in life. And that's the problem with, I think the way our society runs is that like it's university or nothing, whereas now I think they're realizing that was an issue, and you've got things like apprenticeships, you've got degree apprenticeships, even you've got like
TikTok,
all different content creation.
I mean, it's true. It's generating a lot of careers,
but like that's the thing, there was never a variety of options. Like for me, I was always going to university because it was always in me that I had to, like, it was like failure if you didn't go to university, I felt like. And everyone around me was also going to university. It wasn't a thing where you would do anything else. And if you weren't going to uni, it would be like, okay, you're going to be in this dead-end job that doesn't pay a lot and blah, blah, blah. So I think just like having an understanding that there's other options is a whole thing. And I think there is that whole inclusion side of it as well. Not everybody has the opportunity to go to university because schools and education in general pre-university is not equal. So there's that side of it, but I think I think people should be able to choose what they want to do, and I think people need to know the options that they have, and that's, well, at least when I was at school, that wasn't the case.
And this is really interesting because, again, I think, because there's a few years between us, this is really showing how rapid the changes were. Because when I went to university, it was before top-up fees. So the fees were like £1,000 a year for everybody. Which is a very different, thing. So I actually paid off my student loan, like I think 2 years ago. So I think went to the pub to celebrate. Which I think it's nearly impossible now to pay off your student loan. And there's something in me that I think it's really immoral to be asking teenagers to take on this level of debt, especially when people might be from like very low income backgrounds. I do think there's something morally wrong about that, quite frankly. And I don't know what the solution is. I really don't. And obviously, I imagine, was it top-up fees when you were at university?
I was the first year that paid 9K.
Right. Okay. So the original top-up fees were 3,000, by the way, and then there was another hike to 9.
That's when everyone was protesting because they were like, how can you triple university fees?
I'm just remembering now, actually, I didn't even pay the £1,000 because at the time, if your family income was under a certain threshold, the local education authority paid your fees for you.
Nice.
My sister had that.
I actually, my loan was actually all living expenses. I didn't pay any tuition because I was from a low income family. So it was I feel like when I went, it was a very specific moment in time that was only lasted for, I don't know, maybe 6 years maybe. And then it turned into what you
my sister went to uni. She paid her debt off ages ago because she also stayed at home and she didn't have all those fees. So it was perfect for her. And then I went and I'm like, oh, look at my 70K that goes up every year. No matter how much I pay.
It just goes up and up and up.
But
so it's a mess. Someone should sort it out.
And I think within this whole system, doing a PhD is it's a different story, but it's still within this whole structural thing, right? And then I think there should be many more PhD opportunities that are like the one that you have, like the funding that you have, that you actually you are already placed somewhere, like even not in a local authority, even in whatever companies, etc. And then you can just leave from there and do something, because the point is that the work that you're doing as part of your PhD should go back then to the local authority, right?
Yeah, that's it. So to meet the sort of criteria, it has to be, you have to demonstrate that your project is aimed towards improving service delivery, basically, from the local authority point of view. So, you can't just do whatever you want. It does have to be sort of specific. But that's the same for PhDs that get advertised and people apply to anyway, right? So
like all of us, like we have some sort of, not impact, but some sort of thing that we are aiming for that has to do with the outside world. It's not that we're just like sitting here and talking out of our asses. But I feel like if that will become more of the system, and I see it becoming, then I think it's a lot about rethinking also the student status, because you just can't have staff members, like people that are working professionals. You would send them to university to advance like the research that the local authority is using, or like the industry is using, or whatever in science, and then you treat them like they are like undergrad students. It doesn't make any sense.
I feel like in STEM that's probably worse in that sense, because they tend to have a lot more collaborations with like organizations than we do in sociology or in social sciences. And it's like, so why would they not be considered staff? It makes no sense to me. You're collaborating with organizations on behalf of a university, but you're not being paid as a staff member. Are you sick? Like, what's happening?
And I would also say as well that it's opportunity cost as well. If other people working in industry or practice, whatever it might be, they're progressing in their career during the time you're doing your PhD. They're making pension contributions. I feel really sad saying stuff like that.
I at some point last year I freaked out about pension contributions. I was like, should I start? I was trying to figure out how I can give pension contributions without like on my own. Like, can I take part of my money and give it to a pension? Because I was like, what if I become old and I lost so many years already?
Yeah.
So and then this sort of thinking, and then sort of thinking about why are we in the sort of situation we're in now, and then I was thinking, is there still this like construction of a PhD student as someone who's like middle class and well resourced?
Yes.
And is that why some of the things are the way they are, some of the processes and procedures? So they think, they're sort of people that have stayed in academia, and that's where the babyfication thing, comes in, and maybe their parents are still supporting them financially, maybe. And is that some of the thinking around what has happened? Because I'm struggling to find explanations for it. Do you know what I mean? But I think if there is this sort of stereotype of a PhD student, is this also kind of needs updating? It's not accurate anymore. Some people have caring responsibilities. A lot of us come from families that don't have resources. We might be the resource for our family, like we might be the person our family, come to for that. And for me, it feeds into like a wider thing around, sort of classism, really, about sometimes I feel like institutions are not class conscious at all. And I definitely feel like that as a PhD student, and just because of the way it's set up, the whole conference thing, I just feel is such a representation of like middle class values, where you go to a conference and you sit and listen to people presenting in English. Other languages are not allowed, Even
in other countries.
And I've never been so embarrassed. I've told this story before where I was really naive when I first started, that I thought when you go to like an international conference, I thought it'd be like the UN and everyone would have like a headset for everything to be translated into your language. I literally did not realise that people had to present in English, and I was like, what is going on? This is messed up, and I thought, well, this is really unfair, because why should your proficiency at English determine whether you can present at what are considered like the top conferences or whatever?
Even if it's your own country, and you're like, my English ain't that great, but I'm in my own country, but I can't speak my own language.
So that was a whole thing for me that I, processed. And then, the whole thing about having a wine reception and having a dinner and all that. And I'm just like, I struggle in those environments because I can't behave myself. I drink all the wine and start singing probably. And like, because I have no frame of reference for these kind of events that happen, like a dinner party. And I'm like trying to make conversation on the table, and I'm like, I don't know what to say. I mean, we don't have things in common.
Do you think this also has to do with the fact that in the UK, a lot of PhDs, especially nowadays, maybe it was different before, but it's like you finish undergrad and you directly go into a master's and then you directly do your PhD. I think that's like the most common pathway for like home students, isn't it?
I don't know. I've not met anyone that's done that. I mean, no, not, well, that's a lie. I have met people, but I've met significantly more people that haven't.
I think in other countries it's really like there is no one that is doing a PhD that is like under 30 something. Like it's really, really uncommon for you to do a PhD before you've left the university and worked and whatever and then came back. I don't know how it is in India. In Cyprus, whomever I know doing a PhD, they are like much older. I don't know.
I don't know if that is. I wouldn't say it's uncommon here to do just like undergrad, master's, PhD. But I wouldn't say it's common either.
Well, now even the masters is gone. Like a lot of people are doing undergrad and then PhDs.
That is even that was like a thing that was really rare. Like you had to be like a special person to do something like that.
But now it's happening more and more, which is very interesting to me. Like,
so it's discipline specific, isn't it? I think because I think maybe the sort of undergrad, masters, PhD might be like my original subject was history. You know, I think it might be more common there rather than like social science, like ESRC funded people, because I think you probably have to have a bit more experience to be able to write an application that gets funding, right? So
absolutely.
I think it filters people out a bit, but you're talking now about the social research masters, aren't you?
Like, for example,
which is it because of funding? I don't know. Is it because the ESRC?
It was a sociology masters.
Sorry, I didn't know which one you were talking about.
The master's is gone. It's sociology.
No, not that. That some people can actually do an undergrad for 4 years and then move on to a PhD directly, and that isn't
that an integrated undergrad?
No,
like a 4-year undergrad is one with like a year master's.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, but it's still an undergrad degree, and then they're just directly moving to PhDs, which is very, like, I feel like it's easier to babyfy PhD students when you do something like that, when you take away degrees like masters.
That's what I was trying to say.
And like,
not even just take away degrees. I think even if you did a master's degree, if you go undergrad, master's, PhD, or undergrad, PhD, and you don't have any like basis of what it means to work outside of academia, you're significantly more likely to be like exploited in the ways that academia exploits people.
Absolutely.
Because you don't know what work is supposed to look like. You know what they're telling you work is supposed to look like. And I did a project with like our other friends, Vicky, Mikhail, and Ran, on first generation PGRs and their like experience. And one of the focus groups we did, everybody was sort of in their last year, and most were professionals outside of it. So like one was like a teacher, one had worked like in like as a probation officer and stuff like that. So they had careers, and then one person hadn't done anything, and he was just like, he doesn't know a lot of the time like what is okay and what isn't. He just knows how he feels about a lot of things, and like he doesn't know when to speak up as well. And then being first generation just sort of adds to that too, because then you're like, you don't know have any idea of academic
reference at all.
And the others were like, they were so happy that they were someone before they came and did their PhD, because they're like, it helps them establish relationships better and lay foundations and not get treated like shit. I mean, we get treated like shit anyway.
And see each other as colleagues, you know, and not like...
even like supervisors. They were like, it's very parent-child as opposed to, you know, like just two colleagues, like a more senior colleague and a more junior colleague speaking, which is so interesting because that's wild. Like, why is it a parent and child thing? Like, why can they tell me when I can get a job and when I can't? Why can they tell me what I'm allowed to spend my conference money on and stuff? Like, they should be able to advise you 100%, but it does become like a dictatorship, like it is a parent-child thing. And it's so I was just going to say, I agree with the whole idea of if you're just funneled into academia and funneled through into PhD, it really sets the groundwork for more exploitation. Like, and more strikes in the future and stuff like that.
And I think it exposes the inequalities as well when you get to like an early career researcher, right? Because some people, again, if you're from like a low resource like background, low income background, you don't have the resources to work on temporary contracts indefinitely while you wait for a permanent job to come up. And I think that it creates this sort of very problematic pipeline, in my opinion, where you're only going to get a certain type of student moving successfully through that system from one stage to the other. So
and they can also afford all of the loans and like living expenses and everything. Even if you're funded, at some point you're like, I need some income. Like if you don't have someone helping you out, it's really hard to even go that far.
But I'd say the anxiety of not having a safety net as well. I think that adds more to the sort of financial pressure as well. But yeah, I definitely have drawn loads on sort of like my local authority experience. And I think that in some ways for me, I think I've noticed things a lot more maybe. And, talking about kind of the people that then do speak up though, I feel we get... You talked a little bit about it. You get a bit of a reputation, and you're seen as
I love that reputation. Oh my god!
Do you know what I mean?
It's not. It's like it gets tiring though.
It does, yeah.
Well, my attitude is like, you're lucky to have me. Like I'm, So I'm just a bit like, what?
Troublemaking in the workplace is so much fun. Like it's so like
I don't find it fun. To be honest.
I understand why.
I do not find it fun.
But that's because you're alone. If you weren't alone, it would be like
I feel
so
like
much
if
fun.
I was in your department and I was with Nick and Charlotte, it's like banging the tables.
But I think
it might have been fun.
Honestly, I think the moral of this story, hi listener, I think the moral of this story is well, because we're so exploited, like in terms of like salary and we don't get one, and stuff like that. It's harder to be a troublemaker in a workplace that you are salaried and that you're an employee, because there's always that threat of being
They're
fired.
gonna fire you.
Yeah.
They can't fire us.
Yeah.
Why are we not more troublemakers than we should be? Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not paying for us at all. They're like, they can't get rid of us in the way, like, so easily compared to a company if you are an employee.
I think the reason that people are not more troublemakers is because there's this whole rhetoric of you should be grateful to be here.
Yeah.
Even to the people that pay their own fees and like come here and give up so many other things in their life.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a privilege. You should be grateful that you're doing a PhD, that you have these people supervising you, that you have the support of the university. So you're not allowed to complain. This is sort of the rhetoric. And then there is people that go along with it, and for one reason or another, they sort of like fall into that. And then there's other people that say, no, like, why should I be grateful to you? Like, I came here like through my own, like, whatever, trying and struggle and everything. And
for me, I used to feel like that, but I also had the feeling of not knowing, again, being like a first generation PGR, not really knowing what I should and shouldn't be doing. And, like, just, you have that whole time of like sort of navigating the space, like, and feeling that imposter syndrome, like, am I supposed to be here? Should I be doing things like this? Should I be doing things like that? Am I a bona fide researcher? And there's those, like, I guess, doubts that you have in yourself that your environment sort of reinforces sometimes.
All the
but
time.
now I feel like less like that. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I've been here long enough now. I understand this place is some bullshit. And so I feel a bit more like, a little bit more pep in my step. And then on top of that, you also have to think about other people who have other things. So like, for instance, if you're an international student, there's more at stake if you make trouble. Do you know what I mean? Especially someone like you, you're... you're funded through scholarship, so you're also not paying for your own thing. So then there's more at stake. Like even like Palestine protests and stuff. A lot of I knew people who didn't want to go and like really get involved because they're like, what does that mean for me?
Yeah, some
like,
copper decides to arrest you.
Right.
You're knackered, aren't you? With your,
But then I feel
your
like
visa and everything.
right. But then I feel like as someone like as a home student, even though I'm not like 1,000% privileged, but you know, like privileged through scholarship, being a home student, all of that.
You can't deport us.
You do sometimes, right? Where they're going to put me? So then, although hashtag Jemima Baker,
I've got an Irish passport now. They might send me back.
I'm applying for my Jamaican passport, so you never know. But like, it is sort of. I guess sometimes I do think, oh, maybe it is on our chest then to do things because they can't, like to be the voice for the voiceless. Do you know what I mean? Not to be like Peter Pan or anything, but you know, like,
look at Marissa taking on.
Oh, I can't wait to, because like I had feedback from Charlotte about our episode, and not just Charlotte actually, and my paramour, about how we didn't talk about when we spoke about the submission period thing, we didn't really talk about the woman, the problematic person who has made this possible, and we were a little bit more diplomatic compared to how I spoke about her to people off camera.
I was surprised. You missed
Were
out.
we that diplomatic?
I think so.
Okay,
Well,
I don't remember.
compared to the things I have
haven't
said about her
listened
off camera, yes.
So what? It was really the outrage that it caused, I think,
Yes.
because so there was 2 sessions, wasn't there? Because the first one they forgot to invite the sociology PGRs to the welcome back session for social science,
Where they told us about this.
We got
They
told
never
the day
invited us.
before.
I mean, I got told by Lara.
Yeah.
If Lara wouldn't tell us, I would not be there. So
Right, no.
Okay,
and
so
Lara
then they
told-
did another session.
Yeah,
Just
then they
for
did another
sociology.
session.
Nice, they didn't invite you.
So I will preface this by saying I did not attend either, but I heard about it, and basically. And we have a chat, and the chat exploded because of what was actually said, and the way it was said was incredibly rude.
There was like
You got chastised for using your phone.
They
did
were
you,
like-
Marissa?
before we even get into
sorry,
that, there were like racial microaggressions. There was ableism involved. There was a lot of like when they were telling us about when we can submit and all of that. There was just so much.
Sorry, was this in the second session?
In the
Yes.
second
Okay.
session. So that's the one that I went to
Yeah.
because I couldn't go to the first one because they never told me about it, and I was in the Dominican Republic having a great time. So, but in that second session, she was talking about how you can only get an extension for civil war or cancer. And for me, I was just sitting there thinking, there's so many international students in here. Most people in here are not white. And then to say things like civil war just felt so coded. Like it just felt disgusting. And everything was very much, I was able to submit within my fee paying period when I was a PhD student. And I had a job. And I used all of my data. So why can't you? You're choosing to be like a bum, basically, and not submit everything on time. Don't be so useless. Like it was very that, and then at the end she coded in the disability service and said, if you think you have a disability, go to the disability service. And it was very like,
I love that. Like mental health isn't part of that conversation.
Right,
Do you
it
know
was
what I mean? Like, and yeah, it's just. I mean, it's just ignoring the impact of any difference, isn't it? It's there's a multitude of reasons why somebody might not be finishing on time, and interestingly, you go around the department, and I've had conversations, and someone told me that they didn't finish on time, and it was a battle. So not every PhD is the same. There's disciplinary differences as well. I would say I struggle to understand the mentality of someone that thinks that their experience can be extrapolated to every other person.
right.
And this
In the
person
room,
is
and it's
like a
like,
researcher
hang on a minute.
also
Right,
in the social sciences. Like there is like a lot of levels that don't
I mean,
I was terribly inductive
you should also
recently.
get to know her supervisees because they are
Yes.
finishing within 2.5 years. And I think, and I don't want to speculate, but I also think that hurt people. So I don't want to say that as in like,
She's been brutalized as
that
well.
I think that she might have had this kind of a supervisor who expected her to finish on time, and she is probably also and she now reproduces that sort of like a system where she expects her supervisees to submit within time. And like I feel like sometimes a lot of responsibility also is on our supervisors to sort of be on our sides and be like, no, you finish when you finish, and give us that sort of space so that we don't, in future, if we do become academics, we don't reproduce the same thing, and we don't go on and say like, oh, I finished it, so you should too. And I think I think that might be the case because I don't understand this woman at all. Like, where is all of this hate coming from?
I think as well. I think she's not the first and she's not gonna be the last person like that. And I think a big part of it as well is academia breeds this sort of person. Because also she became a professor very quickly and stuff like that. And it's because of the tenacity that she has to be this person that is willing to suffer and willing to go through all this personal sacrifice, and the system rewards that, which is why she's in the place that she's in. So I feel like the higher up you get, the more likely, not that everybody's like that, but the more likely you're going to see someone who acts in this way and pushes down so much on the other people. And I think, so a big issue is not, yes, her as an individual, she's batshit crazy, but also like the culture that reinforces her craziness, and I hate that. I hate it.
She can keep going up and up and up, just being very pro-admin. And she also is responsible for having other people in her team, and she makes sure that she has all of the people who are yes people to her, and that's fucking, like, the entire faculty are just white people, and that bothers me so much. And I don't want to get into identity politics, but also read the fucking room, you know. If in a room full of social science PhDs, you see like so much diversity, you can't say things like, oh, I have finished my PhD in 3 years, so you can too. You didn't have to think about your fucking visa and your immigration and this and that, but and your family.
Someone brought that up.
Or civil war, or conflict.
Brought that up and she just like dismissed the whole visa thing. She dismissed the whole visa thing. The person I'm sitting next to, who we all know is a mum, like just became a mum on the PhD. God. And it's like, so what? Like, you know, it's just so insane. Exactly. And yes, like you said, sorry, I forgot to mention as well, a pure example of babyfication was the way she treated me in that room. I have never wanted to.
I wish horrible. I was there. I know this was not a meeting for me, but I wish I was somewhere in the corner to like
I was like, because I came a little bit late and our department is literally only there. I was like, I don't want to take my laptop out and do all this. I'll just write on my phone because I have my iCloud notes, and my iCloud notes go onto my laptop regardless. I'm writing my little notes of the session. We're in like a, what's it called? What is that sort of setup? Conference setup?
Like an amphitheater.
Like the round table sort of setup.
Yeah.
Is it round? Whatever. Yeah. And she walks up to me, like directly in front of me, and says, "Excuse me, can you put your phone away, please?"
Oh my God.
And she said it like I flashed back to secondary school. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm 15."
Genuinely.
Like,
genuinely.
I'm half my age because who the fuck is this person talking to me like that? And you know when you have to really swallow something, that's a terrible part of being first generation because
So didn't you show your notes on your phone or say something?
I didn't show her anything. I just said, I'm taking notes on my phone. And she said, oh. And then she kind of like said, okay. And at that point, I had been like taking notes, putting my phone down, taking notes, putting my phone down, and like just like going through that little charade. When she said that, the phone never left my hand again, and it was never unlocked. I mean, never locked. It stayed unlocked. Because who do you actually fucking think you are? Like, you know, I hate having to swallow rage. I hate it. It's not who I am, and that's why I hate like office situations a lot of the time. Because I really want to say, I don't know who the fuck you think you're talking to, but it's not me. Get the fuck out my face. Yeah. But then, you know, everyone would be like, oh, she was
probably
the aggressor.
Violation of the student code.
You know, she was the aggressor. Yeah. You know, she's the student. She's black. She's a woman. I can't do those things. So if I hope I have a meeting with her soon because that rage hasn't left my chest ever since. And I can't lie, it's built up just talking about it. So
do you want to become a student rep?
A part of me thought about that, but I have too much work to do.
Yeah.
I kind of want to
pick fights. Yeah.
To pick fights.
Yeah.
A big part of me is still like considering it. I won't pretend, just so I can be in those meetings and be like, that sounds like some bullshit. Like, do you know what I mean? And I can be like, oh, but I'm saying bullshit on behalf of the students. Do you know?
It's so funny because I have been in one of those meetings and I've only seen Lara and Nabila really speak up and speak against the faculty, and nobody else does it. And I'm like, why wouldn't you?
Okay,
You
maybe
have
I might become a rep.
You
just to
should
shout.
corner this woman and like really like show your age, because there's no other way that she will understand what's going on. Like
Was
it doesn't go through
anyone
a fucking
here in
hand.
the last one? Because I missed it because I had a different
Oh, that was
meeting.
so bad.
Sorry, I spoke. So just to cut you off, I'm so sorry. I'm talking so much because I'm enraged.
No, go for it.
Enraged Marissa.
No, but like I spoke to a member of staff. I won't say who they were about it, and they were talking about how nobody is happy with anything that this person is coming up with, and that we as students should mobilize because supervisors will mobilize on behalf of their students, and then like the heads of departments will mobilize on behalf of their departments to her. And I think we should be doing that, and I don't understand why we're not.
But that,
Oh, well,
that's a link. Well, no, I agree completely with what you're saying, but I will say that also I had a very unfortunate experience last year of, we would sort of, being quite active around the room and kind of wanting to get a better space for the PGRs, which you touched on last episode as well. But I was told that my activism was making people uncomfortable. By
You mean
speaking out
other
on issues.
PGRs?
Allegedly, I never got told who or what the content of it was. It was said in a very general way. So I think there are ways in which certain people try to also squash any sort of opposition or any sort of speaking out. So I think it's difficult really, because whilst I do think there are individuals in the system and academics that do care personally about PhD students and would be kind of like allies in what you're saying. I also think that people that are kind of in the system in any kind of like managerial role, director role, faculty role, that's a whole different culture, isn't it? And I feel we spoke about the tone of emails that we're getting at the minute from from our PGR support officer. The tone's hardened this year. It's suddenly, this is a requirement, this is mandatory, do this, do that, and it's like, what is going on? If at a time when there's obviously massive cutbacks happening, there's a voluntary redundancy out at the minute. Lots of staff are worried about the future. We got told that the MA in social work is closing, which is huge for those of us doing these fellowship programs. But I got sent an email saying that I don't need to worry because it won't affect my program of study. And I'm like, it does affect me though, because my supervisors might take VR or look for another job. They're stressed about their job, right? Other people who are doing the pre-doctoral fellowship might think twice about applying for a doctoral fellowship because there's going to be no social work education going on here. So they're not, I imagine they're not going to be advertising to bring any social work academics to the university. So
what's the point?
It's a whole ecosystem. And I just feel like it's really weird sending an email like that to tell me that it's not affecting me when I can tell you how it's affecting me if you want. Like, it's a weird sort of controlling of the message, I think, a lot of the time. And it's like, no, you're wrong. It's not like this. It's actually like this.
Yeah, you don't know what you're feeling. You don't know how this is affecting you. Like this is the way that you're feeling. It was the same with the restructure, right? Like they kept sending us emails, oh, this is never going to affect your experience as a student in the university. I'm like, bullshit. Like we see exactly how it's affecting all of us, and not just PhDs but also masters and undergrads, like all the way down.
And what affects the staff affects us as well.
Yeah,
it's weird
of
to sort of
course.
say that
As a student.
that this is not going to affect you.
We really do get the worst of both worlds as like students and stuff.
Like the lack of GTA contracts this year as well, for casual employment, right? That's a direct knock-on of the financial situation.
Teaching is a great one, actually. That's another way that I don't even know if this is infantilization or just disrespect, but
I think those
infantilization
go
is disrespect.
yeah. But like, as in, disrespect is the overarching thing, and infantilization is one part. I feel like this was just pure no manners. But like, I did my interview to teach in the summer. I can't remember, like June. Yes, I was in Philadelphia at the time, so June. They said they're going to get back to me in July, August the latest. They didn't get back to me until October. And they only got back to me in October because there was a spare teaching vacancy. If there wasn't that teaching vacancy, I'd still be waiting for them to get back to me, and I think that's just rude. I understand when you apply for a job and there's thousands of applicants, they can't get back to everyone. We're all in the same department. I see you all the time. You're not going to email me and say, hey, Marissa, sorry, we don't have any contracts this year. That's all I need, just so I know and I can plan for my finances, because you also, you know, want to stop me from working. So why would you not tell me that? And then when I did get a response saying, hey, there's something available, but you have to reply to me like quickly, I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? Do you know how many months I've waited for you to reply to me, but I must reply to you like as soon as, like, I must come crawling and be like, yes, master.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Straight away, sir.
3 bags full. Like, what are you talking about? Like, please, sir, can I have some more? Sorry. Not that person. That they're actually quite a nice person, and they were probably very stressed. But I just saw it as like quite rude.
They're restructuring the GTA thing too. They're making it centralized now, which is basically your department people is not going to recruit you. It's going to go through careers and development, and they're going to put out GTA opportunities, and then anybody can apply to those roles if you... They've already done it in other departments, I think in psychology. I think also in Lara's, because someone from my department is teaching there. I don't know.
Not really, no.
No, that's not how that happened. That happened... It kind of was a call out, though, because I got one for the politics department, and I got an interview for it, but I just didn't go. But they just sent an email out saying, does anyone want to teach in politics?
Yeah.
Please?
They're making it centralized now, and the GTA thing, like all of those things are going to be sort of administered by the head of the department and faculty and the university, rather than, you know, these staff members who know you personally and know what your strengths and limitations are and can, you know, give you those sort of opportunities like before, which is...
I mean, the staff are going to hate that, aren't they?
Yeah, everyone's gonna hate it. I think the, like, what I'm understanding, like, with the way that I have been treated in the last months with all of this GTA thing, is that it's their loss. Like, it honestly is their loss. Like, if they treat me, and I'm taking myself as an example, but if they treat GTAs in this way, they're gonna get less GTAs that actually want to teach and that are like that are willing to give like effort and stuff like that. They're gonna not get anyone that wants to teach. And then even if you teach, because they whatever are limiting your responsibilities and your money so much, you're just gonna give them the basic minimum. And if they cannot ask for more than that, it's like they can go fuck themselves. Like, they cannot treat me this way and also expect me to do things as well as I have been doing them in the past. And I'm not talking about my module leaders, but about everyone else. The problem is that because management and the heads of departments and of faculties, whatever, are imposing these things, the people that are actually affected by this directly are, first of all, your module leaders that suddenly don't have the resources to do the modules as good, and most of all, the students that you are teaching, because they have less contact time, they have less people that are there. In this one module last year, we had like 3 GTAs, and we'd see them every week and have opportunities to talk with them and this and that. So the students in the last cohort, they had so much more time to talk with you and to ask things and like to discuss like really hard papers and things like that, and they had a much better experience than students now that have one GTA that is running like a chicken up and down and trying to do 20 things at the same time while not being paid. Like, obviously it affects everyone else except the management, and it's not even that they're winning any money, they're not. Because just the time to sort all this bullshit out, it costs them more than actually paying people properly. So I don't know. I just I have given up and I don't care anymore about it.
I think that...
And I feel really sad about it because I'm someone that was really passionate about teaching. And the fact that I am now in this sense that I say I don't care about it. I'll just go and walk in and just sit there and look at the wall, and if someone asks me something, I'll answer. But I can't be bothered. Like, honestly.
I think also it also speaks to another issue of feedback loops. That was actually another thing I had on my list that should have probably been on the top, and we should have spoke about it last week or last time, whenever. But there's no like formal feedback. Management is quite detached from everything that happens that they make decisions on. And I don't know if like staff get to feedback stuff, not sure. But I know from our level, as like the bottom of the food chain, there's never opportunity for us to feedback on processes and things that affect us.
Yeah.
Confirmation review, we had issues with it in our department. We had nowhere to
So
feedback.
many issues, yeah.
Teaching, I know some people who have had issues with teaching. I haven't taught yet, but other people have. They've had no, like, they asked the main person who sorts that out, and she was like, there's no official feedback. I guess you can talk to your module convener if you want. But then, like, a lot of these things are universal issues that aren't just specific to, any specific module. It's just a teaching problem. You can't feed that back. We have reps, and that's literally the only way you can feed things back.
Yeah, but...
And I did, as a rep, feed things back, both about GTA and about other PhD issues, and they never got properly taken.
That shouldn't be the
over.
only way. And like even the projects that we did on the first generation PGR stuff, it was to make the experience of first generation PGRs better. And so that project in itself was a form of feedback. We wrote a whole report for it, had all these findings and stuff. Nothing became of it. We never got an email. And the only time we got anything back to say, like, this is what the progress was, which was a few days ago, was because someone, like a senior person, asked one of us, like, what's going on with it? And we're like, we don't know. And so they pushed back for us. But there's never, like, our voices just don't count by themselves, which is so interesting to me because we're talking about things that affect us.
And you were basically paid to do this.
Right.
Like you went through
Money.
through a thing, like an application process, whatever. You were chosen, you were paid to do this, and then they still don't.
Right, which is interesting because then people have come to me and said they want to do a PhD in Sheffield. How do I apply? And I can't in good faith be like, oh yeah, like, do it this way. I have, but I have also prefaced it with, it's shit here, don't come here. So like, that's not helping the finances of the university or the reputation of it.
Depends if we're a loss leader or not, doesn't it?
So do you...
Maybe we'll save the university money then.
I mean, sure, yeah, probably. But I will always tell people I don't like it here and I don't recommend doing a PhD here, but, do what you want to do. If you want to do it here, do it here. But it's interesting to me that they just don't see that. And they're having that problem right now with their leaderboards and their international students who they love and value the money of so much. So...
And can I give a counter example to that as well with it's a controversial one. Do we mind?
Yeah, I love a bit controversy.
So yeah, that happens. So we're not able to give feedback. PGRs are excluded from some committees that undergraduate reps are invited to. It's the whole thing around, concerns not getting taken up. And yet last year I was kind of like part of a sort of quasi disciplinary process that wasn't an official process at all, but somebody else's complaint about me got taken up
very seriously.
high, got taken extremely seriously. And I was called as another PGR student, so not a member of staff, and we had a disagreement. I will hold up my hands. I like to...
Oh no, but fuck him. He called me a bitch. Continue. I'm so sorry.
By the background.
Why did he call you a bitch?
You were that? No, I don't know.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But so we had a disagreement. I'd sort of spoken to him. I knew he hadn't enjoyed the interaction and whatever, but I was just a bit like, people are going to disagree, whatever. He went straight up to the top, and this I'm assuming this member of staff likes this student in particular. Not in a dodgy way, in a not in a dodgy way. Let's clarify that. Me too, hashtag. And then I got asked to come to a meeting with my supervisor, and I was like,
oh wow,
what is going on? Like, I was like, this is insane. Like, and so I was trying to find out about it, and I was like, because obviously with my local authority head on, I'm thinking, well, am I going to get in trouble over this? This is weird.
Like, do I need union representation?
Literally, I asked that, and I got told, no, you don't need union representation. So I attended this meeting, where I was basically asked to explain. So it was just me, my supervisor, and the member of staff. And I got asked to explain myself and what I had said to make this other student upset and angry with me. They were really concerned about how angry the student was with me. And I was like, I don't know. Like, did you ask? What was it that I said that caused this? Because I don't think what I said justifies this level of anger that you're telling me
It didn't.
Happen, exists. And I wasn't told, that question wasn't asked, but there was a member of staff full on advocating for this student. And so I then got told that she was concerned about us being in a room together because of how angry he was. And I was like, well,
that's a problem.
Don't you need to address that with him?
Yeah.
Like I'm
Exactly.
I'm fine to sit in a room. Like and I was just really taken aback by, I was being asked, my behaviour was being absolutely scrutinised. And I want to emphasise, in not a proper process. This is not a process in the handbook. It's not a process anywhere. And to me, it was just this crazy situation, infantilisation again, because I'm somebody in the local authority who does disciplinary investigations on behalf of the local authority. So I'm very much aware of our procedures in that organisation and how, even to progress to sort of the process, it has to go through a gatekeeping thing where they decide whether what happened was serious enough to warrant wasting people's time and going through the process. So it was just this completely bizarre experience, and I could tell that this member of staff was not happy with my responses at all, and she really wanted me to say that, oh yes, actually I was awful. And so I left it as, okay, if you can clarify what exactly it was that I said that was cause this reaction, I will consider making an apology. That's fine. I don't go out of my way to upset people, but at the same time, from my point of view, whenever you put people together, not everybody is going to get on all the time. I just think that's a life thing. I don't think that's a strange take to have on it. And anyway, it didn't go anywhere because this other person then denied that they were upset and angry at all, which made it even more bizarre, because I was like, then why has this thing now happened? And then anyway, I was and then it all kind of like went away anyway. An apology was demanded of me, and I did not give it, and that was that. And I just remember thinking, and unfortunately that happened, I was like a month in to a PhD program, and I was like,
he was already causing problems.
This is special even for me. This was like an accelerated path of self-destruction, I was like, first gen, woo woo. And I just thought, what a bizarre thing that has happened, and how the system and people in the system goes out of its way to protect some people's feelings, and yet the backdrop to this is all this other crazy stuff that's going on that gets completely ignored.
But then I think also the reason why that went where it went is, number one, who the person is.
Is a white man.
Yeah, they're a white man, and they're very, I wouldn't say valued, like they are valued.
And
basically they know how to present themselves.
Yes.
I mean, that sort of stuff just would not fly in the local authority. Do you know what I mean? And I was just like, what is this? Like,
but I think also, like, the reason that his thing got sorted out ish. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't really know.
Not to his satisfaction.
I don't really get what happened.
An attempt was made.
Because his thing was like actually paid attention to. But I think it's also because it was an individual thing. Like anytime we have problems, it's usually like a
collective.
Yeah, like as in this is a sociology PGR problem, or a social science PGR problem, or just PGR problem altogether, or student problem, and nobody cares because they don't want to fix it because it's too big and it's going to shake too many tables. It's also
like, how dare you get together and talk about your problems and try to advocate for yourself and organize as a collective,
I feel like it's more when we organize as a collective, it's threatening. It's something that would shake a table. Whereas if you just have a grievance with another person, nothing's gonna come of it that's gonna change anything. drastically.
It's just
Very good
drama.
So
point,
you can
yeah.
just do like, oh yeah, let's have this random weird non-tribunal tribunal and like do that, because why not waste time? We can waste time. But when it comes to like having a whole new room, oh no, that's going to be like planning, and that's this and that's that, and it speaks to how much we don't care about you, and we can't have that. So like,
And we had new information about the room, because you spoke about the room last time as well. We had a bombshell, didn't we? Because another amazing student found the planning application, because it's all publicly available.
Oh, wow.
So they found the historical planning applications that the university submitted to the council when the building was being built. And my God, it tells a story, because in the updated planning application, we're in a completely different place with a room that's 4 times the size of what we currently have. And but then it made me really kind of like think about what was going on last year, and like I feel really gaslighted, because we were being told there was no issue with the room, and what do you mean there's, you know, too many desks and too small a space, and actually I feel like it's all been very kind of almost like with the argument against us has been in really bad faith, because the evidence is publicly available that we were never supposed to have that small a room. You know, it was supposed to be much bigger, because it does constitute a safety issue, right?
And this person is from architecture and planning, like she's done some architecture,
she's amazing.
and that's why she got interested in like,
and she knows all
getting
the
to know
plans would be and the approvals.
And thank God for that, because none of us did. And
I thought I was going mad last year though. It's like, am I really entitled and weird thinking that I don't have anywhere to work regularly? Like, I'm really like confused about this, you know. And so now when they're sort of talking about the budgets and cuts, and you know, and I'm just thinking, what are you going to cut from us? Like, I literally don't have a desk. Like, I don't have anything for you to take away from me.
I can't stress enough how much we don't have a ceiling, and it makes noise.
Yeah, so
have you ever been there after hours? It makes like this really weird noise like you're about to die.
Hatred for open ceilings is
a great setting for a horror film, isn't it?
Oh my God.
But yeah, like,
our position in the department is also horrible, because lots of these undergrad students think that we are the admin people, and they just come in and they're like, oh, can you do this for me?
Can you help me with this?
And then 6 people trying to avoid their PhD jump up and go, of course, I will sort this out for you. Like, you know.
Oh God, it's a great way of procrastinating.
So I feel like you know, justified from that evidence that has come to light. You know, I think we got shafted. And we can prove it.
But then I guess it speaks to everything that they bullshit us about then. Like the room is just one thing that we can prove, like, oh yeah, you definitely were talking shit to us. Whereas there's so many other things. Your salary, all the GTA stuff that you're going through is them actively gaslighting you.
No, and it's not the only thing. There's a lot of things that they're actively gaslighting everyone. The one thing that I was happy about is that after the whole debacle with the submission review, our PGR directors were very firm.
That's good.
On what exactly our code of conduct says about the 3 plus the 1 year that you have after your fee paying period, etc., and what their approach is on filling in the submission review forms. And I was like, okay, at least they seem like they are on our side, like in order to support us to send in the forms properly to the faculty. So I felt a bit better about that. But like there's a lot of gaslighting about a lot of things.
Yeah, I feel better about it too. However, I'm expecting to have a run-in with our faculty lead very soon. Mein Führer.
And I think there is, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I also think that some of the responsibility of changing this also rests on us at some level. I want to take up the responsibility to, especially I'm probably feeling this because this is my last year of the PhD and I don't know where I'm going to be. And I feel like everybody that comes after me should not have to go through this. And I don't know why, but like this just makes me really angry because I think when I was in my first year and I saw some people in my senior years not know about the RTSG at all and get to know about it, the research training grant, support grant, only in the last years. And I was like, I am not going to leave this from here. And I was like, I'm going to make sure that everybody gets to know that even the people who are funded by other scholarships, which is not ESRC, can also get the same fund. It's there somewhere in the booklet, but like they would not actively tell you about it.
I'm happy you said that, because I feel like we should leave something behind. Like if it's like an alternative handbook, like you've just started, this is all the stuff that you really should know.
That's good. PhD legacy / all of our
speak about
coming
it
together to bring in different points,
like
an open
capsule
document,
or something.
That can like be filled in by also in the future,
like commandments of like, if someone is giving you shit, don't take it, something like that. You know, like you can actually protest certain things and you can actually demand certain things. One of the things that my supervisor tells me is that even if they're telling you there is no money, simply ask. And I have been doing it since my second year, and most of the times they do have money. It's just that we just think there's no money and we're not asking. And sometimes you just need to ask them, and they would find some money from somewhere and give it to you.
But thinking about legacy, we spoke about maybe doing like some sort of board in the office with like tips of things that you want people to know about, and then we were talking about a shared drive of like resources for people as well, for like you know, if we anonymize them, like if people want to donate their like ethics applications or data management plan
or
and
whatever,
and we can anonymize it all, but just so people have things to go off, so it's not as hard. Because I feel like for us in my cohort, it's like 17 people all individually having the same problems, trying to track down the same information sometimes,
and there's no reason
and it's
for
like
that's completely unreasonable, and we should definitely do that.
And I think the only reason we haven't done it is time. We just never have time to do it. So overworked and stuff. Because I would have done it so long ago.
Right, that's why it should be like a drive that some people have access to, and you can just throw things in when you have them, and it's there for everyone to like open and download and use. And this actually should be something that other people are doing and not us again.
And the reps have, you know, maybe the custodians should be the reps, and then all the work that they're doing, they can also know as well, so that people aren't just starting from scratch again. Because I think in some parts of the university, if you're going to take a like cynical, you know, top-down view, is that they're probably thinking, oh, we'll just wait for these troublesome people to finish and leave. And then we have new people who don't know, who don't know the background. And we can sort of go through the same process again, kick things into the long grass, you know. Whereas if there's more of a legacy getting passed down, I think it's going to be harder to do.
And I think it needs to be sustainable enough, because like, for instance, we have the room issue now. There's the restructure issue. That's not always going to be the case. Like, you know, a PGR 5 years down the line is not going to have those problems, but they're going to have problems. Do you know what I mean? But they're going to have like a whole fresh set of problems. So we should have like, I guess like a case study thing that says like, this is what our problem was, and this is how we sorted it out. This is what we did. This is where we are with it, and this is how far we got. And so people can be like you know, like in law, when they're like, I don't know, Brown versus Board of Education, and they're like, oh, this is how that works, so maybe we can take from that. Like it should be that.
What is with our friend group? Why are we all like this?
Like what? Pissed off?
Not pissed off, but like there's a lot of people that are pissed off but do nothing about it, and then we suddenly have formed this friend group that everyone is a rep almost in their own departments.
No, but you know,
like ready to like.
I was talking to someone about this with marriage, because I was like, I'm so sick of my friends, because none of them are like, well, apart from you, Laura, none of them are married. You know, like in. Like doing that.
Don't give Bella any ideas for recession.
But none of them are married like white picket fence people, and I'm so tired of them, because I want to go to an Indian wedding. I want to go to a Nigerian wedding. I want to go to all these weddings.
You just want to go to weddings.
Yes, and I want them to get married and do that stuff, and have babies and things, so I can be like, you know, but they don't, and I realized. But then I realized that the issue is me. It's because I attract these people. Like the people who do get married and have white picket fences and like families and stuff are not my kind of people.
No.
And like, okay, granted, Laura's very different from that, but that's because you're also a bit weird. Like you don't have you don't have like a traditional marriage. Like I wouldn't look at you and be like, oh, that's a married couple. Like you know what I mean? What I imagine a married couple to be, and that's my problem. And I feel like that's with us. We attract what we like. You know what I mean? And you like opinionated people who talk shit and like to shake tables and like to be like, no, how dare you walk all over me, you know? So it's like there's always going to be like an abundance of people who are similar to you in that sense. That's why we're a bit
that's
weird.
how we also like support each and like affirm each other. I feel like if I hang out with like diplomatic people, they would always be like, no, I don't think that's true.
Or like blindly
you should think about other
people.
Exactly. And you should just finish your PhD in peace. And this is like horrible.
we know blindly positive people and we've shunned them. Like,
what does that mean? What does that mean? I don't want peace. I want problems. And that's basically, no, I do want problems. 2025 is a year of problems. So watch out, faculty people.
But it's the highlight of my
I hope
PhD.
they're not listening.
It's the highlight though has been the people that I've met. It's not the department. It's not the project. It's literally the things that I will take from the PhD experience is the connections that I've made with people and the people that I'm going to stay in touch with after I submit my thesis, hopefully within the fee paying period, or hell will rain down on me. Apparently,
I felt like I joked that like after I submit and I've done my Viva, I'm going to block all of you guys because you're going to remind me of such a terrible time in my life.
We'll be like, this empty chair represents Marissa, who we used to know.
I'm be like, peace. Just like dissolve. But like,
You're not gonna do it.
No, but like it's true. Like literally the only highlight of my PhD, the only thing I like about what you do actually, the only thing I like enjoyed about my PhD is like meeting you guys. And even when I moved to Sheffield, I was like, oh, I don't want to make new friends. I can't be bothered. And like now I'm like, oh, I'm actually happy I made these friends because they made the PhD bearable. Like, all the small, like how we were suffering last year because it was like, all of you guys are abroad and then those who aren't, we haven't really seen each other and we're all going, like our mental health was all collectively worse. And I think that exacerbated it because we were that person for each other. So,
I mean, okay, conclusion because we need to wrap up.
This is a nice way to wrap up.
Find friends.
Find
rebellious
friends.
ones,
which is really hard.
Not the diplomatic ones.
We have the benefit of having a master's and stuff.
Yeah.
There's people in your department, although there's a lot of toxic people in departments, to be fair. So. But where you can find friends, where there's an opportunity to find friends, and not network. Network isn't networking, but actually finding friends. Do it because... it will drive you insane. We know lonely people.
We know lonely people.
We do. We know some lonely people in the PhD. They remain lonely because we don't like them. But like,
I don't know who you're talking about, but
I'll tell you at the end.
Oh my god! It's such a
but like, there's some people that are a bit.
Ruthless, Marissa.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No. Find the lonely people and then
find the good lonely
convert
people.
them.
Yeah, find your people.
Yes, find your community. Bye.
Oh shit!
No joking.
Merry Christmas!
Yes.
Merry Christmas!
And
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
We won't
Happy New
see anything.
Thank you, Charlotte. I feel like we could have a time
thank
for
you.
this.
This was such a good conversation.
You'll lose all your listeners.
I enjoyed this. This is infantilization part 2. It was kind of a rant, and I appreciated that.
Yeah.
But
See us cause problems in 2025.
Yeah. Oh, and cause problems at the Christmas table. There's going to be that family member you can't stand. Just
that
say
would be
it.
so much fun. Yeah.
And
send
my
us
Christmas
videos.
table will be chill.
I mean, you're not going home to family. So
No.
I have my own family in Sheffield.
a chosen family.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll do hands.
But the lonely person is
flat face.
cares